Hi guys, it's Suraj and I am joined by Mark, manager here in Portugal for Spectrum IFA Group. Thank you, Mark, for joining us.
You're welcome.
So, Mark, we're here today at the Living in Algarve event. Tell me, how's the event been for you so far? What have you been talking to people about today?
Yeah, it's been really good. We've had a good audience, good attendance show up. We've had the 2 sessions, the morning and the afternoon session. Both have been busy. People are just confused. Most of our clients are coming from UK, but some are coming from elsewhere. But they need to know what the move means for them in a tax perspective and a financial perspective. So a lot of it's just demystifying things for them, just reassuring people it's not a scary jump to make.
A lot of people are scared when they make this jump, so it's good that you provide that reassurance. But now that you've mentioned it, I can't not ask you about the impact the UK budget's probably had.
Yeah, that was a bit of a bomb drop. And so some of the key changes for our clients have been the inclusion or the bringing into the tax net of pensions for the first time from an inheritance tax point of view. So historically, pensions were always outside the scope of IHT. And so they were a good place to preserve your assets. You know, if I was speaking to you a month ago, I would have been saying, to you and clients, preserve as much of your wealth in a pension scheme. What the Chancellor announced on the 31st of October is that from April 2027, it's now going to be treated as any other asset, which means taxed at 40%. So it's been a fundamental shift in the planning we've been doing for clients. The other one, the major thing for expats also has been a change in the rules for inheritance tax. So historically, inheritance tax has been based on what's called our domicile.
Yes.
Our domicile is a bit of a strange UK concept, but it's basically where we originate. So in simplistic terms, if we're from the UK, we have a lifetime liability to inheritance tax. It doesn't matter if we never set foot back in the UK. We always have that sort of tattoo on us, stamping us, marked for life. And it was very difficult to escape it. But what the Chancellor said is from April 2025, they're scrapping that system that's been in effect for over a century. They're now going to base it on residency alone. So once you've been clear of the UK for 10 years, you can escape inheritance tax.
That's fantastic.
It's amazing. It's an amazing planning opportunity for clients. The only caveat there is anything left in the UK remains subject to tax. So I think we're going to see a big exodus of the UK assets. And
so you'd have to sell up completely in the UK for that to be worthwhile and effective for you, basically. Okay. I'm also hearing more and more about the ending of the NHR tax here in Portugal. Can you clarify some of this?
Yeah, so the non-habitual residence scheme was a 10-year tax scheme. It was introduced to attract people to Portugal as residents.
Correct.
It did a great job. It was introduced in 2008. It resulted in a lot of our clients coming to Portugal. They never would have heard about Portugal without it. But the Portuguese government announced it was ending last year. But they did announce some transitional rules, so you can still get in this year if you qualify under certain conditions. And we find that most people are qualifying under the ownership of property rule. So if you owned a property as at 10th of October last year, you can still get in. Or if you could demonstrate that you were in the process of moving to Portugal at the time, you can also qualify. But it's ending. Some people are saying the end of this year, others are saying 31st of March. We're saying if you can qualify, get your skates on and just try and move as fast as possible, because it's a valuable benefit to have for those 10 years.
And what are the other alternatives then? For example, you said about property. So if you invest in property, you're applicable for that scheme. Is there any other alternatives?
Yeah, so it's not the investment in property as such. So in the past, we also had the golden visa route in.
Yes.
And that was whereby you could purchase a property for X 100,000, and that would grant you permission to apply for residency and then NHR.
I think it was 500,000?
500, yeah. That's been scrapped now. You still can get in under the golden visa, but it's via an investment fund route. So that's one option for people. That does give you more flexibility on days in and out of Portugal, because you only have to be here for, I believe, 2 weeks of the year. Most of the other visa options like D7, D2, you need to be here at least 6 months of the year.
So guys, you heard it here. Mark sharing some fantastic tips on what to do with financial planning. If you've got any questions, please feel free to DM us. We can connect you directly. But Mark, thank you so much for joining us and sharing some useful tips.
Nice to see you. Thank you.